it's Natasha from Cricut, and today I'm going to walk you through how to do a project specifically for the holidays. I'm going to be making one of these wine bags for our Infusible Ink line. And these are so fun because you can personalize them and they're so versatile for the holidays, for either gift giving or just to have to celebrate the holidays. And so I made some of these fun Christmas ones, and then I have that Thanksgiving one, and today I'm going to show you how to make another Thanksgiving one. So let's get started. I'm going to go over to Design Space and pick out my design. So let's go to Images, and there are so many images to choose from. Let's see. I like this one. It's kind of funny. Pairs well with turkey and difficult relatives. So I'll insert this image, but let's talk about some of the things that we might need today. So of course you'll need a Cricut cutting machine to help cut out the design, and then we'll need some infusible ink. Today I'm going to use an orangey color for Thanksgiving, perfect for the holidays. And then of course you'll need some of our wine bag blanks, which you can also use for sparkling cider or different bottles. It doesn't have to be for wine, but they are just really good gifts. They really dress it up, and you can personalize them and customize them. So these wine bags are awesome. And then you'll also need a lint roller, an EasyPress an EasyPress mat, some butcher paper, and an EasyPress. So now that I've picked out the design that I want, I'm going to measure how big I want this design. So we'll set this one aside, and I'm going to measure, I want this to be about 9 inches. Okay, so I'm going to change my height here to 9 inches and save that project. Okay, so now I'm going to open up my Cricut machine, and we're going to hit Make It in Design Space. Okay, now what's really important with Infusible Ink and doing Infusible Ink projects is you want to mirror it. And I will show you why, but let's go ahead and mirror this and hit Continue. And we're going to use Bluetooth to connect to my machine. And while that's connecting, I'm going to go ahead and get my mat out. So I'm going to take the plastic liner off of the mat and set that aside for later. And then this is the design or the transfer sheet that I've chosen to use today. If you look at the box, the colors look so much more vibrant on the box, but it'll transfer like that, and so don't be concerned if you look at the transfer sheet and feel like it's not the same color. Okay, so I'm going to put this on my mat, and I'm going to decide which part of the design I feel like I want. So I'm going to put it right here. Okay, and also when working with Infusible Ink, you want to make sure that your hands are completely clean and dry and don't have any oils, like any lotions on it, because that can mess with the ink on the transfer sheet. So you just want to make sure it's clean and ready to go. Okay, so we'll prep that, and then back in Design Space, I'm going to choose Infusible Ink transfer sheet as my material. Okay, so we have the iron on set, we have the mirror on set, and we have our material on the mat, and then we will just load it into the Cricut Maker, or whichever Cricut machine you're using. And that's loaded, so I am ready to press go. And while that's cutting, I'm going to go ahead and prep the EasyPress for the heat transfer. So I'm going to go to Cricut Heat Guide. I'm going to search that. Awesome, and this heat guide is so great. It tells you exactly what you need to set your EasyPress to, for how long, and when you put in the materials that you're using. So I'm going to select Cricut EasyPress 2 because that's what I'm using today. And for my material, I'm using an Infusible Ink transfer sheet, so I'll choose that. And my base material is the wine bag. So once I have all that set, I'm gonna hit apply. And it says I need to preheat for 15 seconds, but preheat my machine to 385. So let's turn this on, set it to 385, and for 60 seconds. Okay, and while that's heating up, we can wait for our design to cut. But what's so great about the Cricut Heat Mat, the Cricut Heat Guide, is it tells you exactly what pressure you need to use when doing the transfer, how you should peel it, and the order in which you should stack things. It is so helpful. So I will need my heat mat, the EasyPress mat. So we'll just get that ready to go right there. And then I'll also want to prep my wine bag. So what's important is to lint roll. And doing this and cleaning the wine bag, just make sure that you get rid of any particles or any fuzzies that could mess with the design, so that the Infusible Ink will fuse on to those fuzzies instead of the wine bag itself. So we just want to make sure that it's nice and prepped. So we'll put that aside, and then the heat guide told me that I needed to stack with the EasyPress mat, then my Infusible Ink blank, so the wine bag, and then I'll insert some butcher paper inside of the wine bag to prevent it from bleeding onto the back side of the bag. So I'll just prep that. And it looks like our design is ready. Okay, so we'll set that aside for a little bit later on. And our EasyPress is ready. Everything's ready at once. That's awesome. Okay, so I'm going to unload my mat. And then I can close my machine. And I'll flip over my mat to help take the material off so it doesn't curl as much. It'll still curl a little bit, but there we go. And I'll set this mat aside. We can also set this aside. Okay, so you can see that the design was cut, and I'm just going to use my scissors to trim down the design a little bit so that I don't have to weed everything out and save some of that material for another project. So I'm just cutting this down. Okay, we'll set this aside for a different project. And now what I'm going to do is take out the negative parts of the design. So we're actually going to trim this a little bit here. Try to use as much material for future projects as possible. And what you'll notice about Infusible Ink transfer sheets is they're kind of like paper. And so when I'm taking out the excess from the design that I don't want to transfer, I'll just peel back the background, and it is like paper. So when you take it off, it'll kind of crack. So I'll peel that aside and just do it kind of slowly, just to make sure I don't take off any parts that aren't supposed to be taken off. All right, so we've got that taken care of, and then there are just a few letters that I need to take out. Okay, and this is what it looks like when it is all weeded out. So, and now I'm ready to transfer on. Let's get rid of this trash. Okay, and then the Cricut Heat Guide told me that I needed to prep it for 15 seconds, so leave that on there, prep it. Okay, and then just for good measure, I'm just gonna lint roll one more time, just so I have a seamless transfer. Okay, so I have the butcher paper inside of the wine bag. I have the EasyPress mat. Then the heat guide told me that I needed my design on the wine bag, and then I'll top it off with some butcher paper with the settings that I have already set to my EasyPress. Okay, so now I'm just gonna decide where I want it, where it looks right. I want it about right there. Okay, and then the transfer sheet that I cut my design onto has a sticky backer, so it sticks in place, so I can kind of just check and make sure that it's exactly where I want it. And that looks good to me. So next I'm just gonna top it off with butcher paper and then lightly press for 60 seconds. And it's important when doing infusible ink not to move it around, because the ink can move it around while it's under the heat. So I'm just gonna lightly press down, and as soon as I lift up, I'm gonna lift it straight up so it doesn't drag. Okay, lift up and take off this butcher paper. Be careful, it can be hot. Okay, and it's time for the best part, which is the reveal, to see how it went. Okay, so cool. Look how awesome that looks. So you can see on this design that I cut out that the ink that was sitting on top of this transferred onto the bag. And so that was why it was important to mirror in design space, because it's kind of like a stamp where the ink is on top and you want it backwards so it's right side when you flip it over. So that is how easy it is to do with these infusible ink, totally customizable bags for the holidays. Look how cute this bag turned out. I can take out this butcher paper inside, and it is so cute, so fun for the holidays, and you can make so many different things and really personalize. So hope you have fun with these wine bags, and drop us a comment and let us know what you made.